I think there are a lot of fans around the NBA that don't totally understand why Mavs fans are so angry and so hurt about the Luka Doncic trade. I think it's obvious that yes, to any NBA fan, it's not really a fair trade. It's not a trade where the Mavs should have ever done it in the first place. But I think there's a lot of fans that don't totally understand the real frustration, the heart of the frustration that comes from this Luka Doncic deal. So I want to try my best over the next 8 minutes or so to express what Luka Doncic meant to Dallas, but also what about this deal and the way that it went down is so infuriating to so many Mavs fans and has, number one, I think irreparably damaged the franchise's reputation among fans and probably among free agents and other teams and other players as well. And I think the long-term impacts that this may have, I just want to discuss the situation a little bit more in depth. So we'll start with what Luka meant and honestly still means to Dallas. In a city in Dallas where the most valuable sports franchise in the world resides, in the Dallas Cowboys, Luka Doncic was the heart and soul of the city. Absolutely. I mean, I think the outpouring of love and support towards Luka and outpouring of indignation and just sheer shock and anger about the trade makes that much clear. But as somebody who lives in the Dallas area, is a massive Mavs fan, is a massive Luka fan, and I say I'm still a massive Luka fan. He almost means more than basketball. It's the same way that Dirk was for Mavs fans for so long, and the expectation was that just like Dirk, Luka would be a career 15 to 20 years in Dallas. He said as much in his letter thanking the fans after he was traded, that he planned to spend his career in Dallas, and there was no indication whatsoever that he wanted to leave. And I think that's the first thing that's so hurtful and so frustrating about it is you have a super duper star who absolutely loves calling Dallas home, loves the fans, wants to be here his whole career and wants to be that next Dirk. And the crossover between him and Dirk was just so perfect. They played a season together. It was like a transitioning of the guard from one NBA and Mavs legend to another who looked like he was even going to be better, not just as a player, but as a Mavs legend over time. And to have that ripped away is heartbreaking for a franchise that has always had that iconic player since I've been alive, since I've been conscious of basketball, which was around 07 or so. And so that in of itself is tragic, but the way that the trade went down makes it even worse. And obviously at the end of the day, there have been, I'll get to the campaign that it seems like has been going out to smear Luka over the past couple days. I'll get to that in a second, but there has been a lot of talk over the last couple days about how the Mavs had grown tired of Luka, or the Mavs were concerned about his weight, or whatever else the case may be. First and foremost, Ryan Russillo said it best. He could have been smoking cigarettes up the court and shooting up heroin, and you'd still be asking him, when can you sign the Supermax? I mean, the dude is an unbelievable, ungodly basketball player. One of, in my opinion, the 3 best players in the world. And if not 3, certainly 4. And at moments in his career has looked like the best player on earth. Again, he's 25 years old, younger than Shea, younger than Jason Tatum, younger than Jokic, younger than Giannis. He is the youngest pure, true superstar in basketball. And it's just trading a guy like that away in the first place is mind-boggling, but trading him away without talking to a single team other than the Lakers, who Nico and Rob Pelinka, Nico Harris and Rob Pelinka are apparently buddies, and they went back and forth and told nobody. Apparently there were some Laker people involved besides Pelinka who were in the know, but Nico did this by himself, and he has confirmed as much. Jason Kidd didn't know about the trade happening until it was already agreed to, until it was over. Luka had no idea. None of the players on either side had any idea, but specifically the fact that Jason Kidd wasn't even informed. And in the press conference that Nico Harrison gave yesterday or today, 2 days ago, as y'all watched this video, he talks about how him and J Kidd are aligned, but you look at J Kidd's face and J Kidd looked like he wanted to strangle Nico. He was so incredibly angry, and all the players were shocked and saddened. And around the league, it's just being talked about how stunning of a deal this is. And it is stunning, but it's especially stunning that for a player of the caliber of talent of a Luka Doncic, you don't reach out to every NBA team. And the excuse they're trying to use is that they were scared of the backlash, which is completely justifiable. You don't trade him, especially when he doesn't want to leave. It's justified backlash. But I also think, in all honesty, there is something else going on here. What that is, I'm not totally sure. I think there potentially could be some truth to the concept of another transcendent star in LA and how that's good for the league. Could also be some truth to the fact that the Mavs' new owners, who bought the majority stake from Cuban, are more interested in making money and getting their casino arena than they are in building the team. And this gives them the ability to move to Vegas in a way that they absolutely would not have been able to before, because the NBA is not letting a team in their fourth largest market leave with an incredibly loyal and devoted fan base like the Mavs have had. You know how to destroy that? Trading their best player. And now, if gambling doesn't get legalized in Texas, maybe they move to Vegas. Like, I don't think it's totally out of the ballpark or realm of possibility that happens. There are multiple pretty nefarious explanations for why this trade happened the way that it did, but I can tell you one thing for sure. This trade was not done in good faith trying to improve the Dallas Mavericks basketball team as much as possible. I refuse to believe that that was the way this was done. They asked for multiple picks from the Lakers. The Lakers said no, and the Mavs were like, oh, okay, sure. Nico Harrison was like, oh, cool. No, it's fine. Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and one first-round pick is enough of a return for a 25-year-old transcendent generational superstar. Makes sense. I mean, again, this is not me hating on Anthony Davis or Max Christie. I think both those guys are really good players, especially AD, but even Max Christie, really high-level role player who's going to be a good player in Dallas for a long time. And I think the Mavs still have a championship window. It's a much smaller one. It's a much more limited one. And I'm not sure the team is actually better than they were before. But it is a real championship window still. They're still going to be very competitive the next couple of years, assuming health, assuming that Kyrie doesn't opt out this summer, all that type of stuff. There is a certain amount of validity to that, but it's still a trade you never make. And it is a trade that has made Nico Harrison, number one, the most hated man in Dallas. And I never thought there would be a general manager more hated than Jerry Jones, but I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. And, I truly am still baffled at how this trade went down, baffled that it did go down. And I feel terrible for Luka. I feel terrible for Luka's teammates. I feel terrible for myself and all the other diehard lifelong Mavs fans whose hearts were crushed by this deal. I mean, I cannot explain the frustration and anger I feel even now and sadness about this trade, other than it feels like losing a family member. And I don't think that's an overreaction to other people who are as passionate about this as I am. I mean, my brothers who are not huge basketball fans were crushed when this happened. I've never seen the reaction that they had to this deal as not even really significant basketball fans. Luka meant so much and still does mean so much to the Dallas-Fort Worth community. It is crushing to have lost him, and losing him in the way that the matter that we did. Obviously, it's the most stunning and one of the worst trades in NBA history in a lot of pictures, but it's a complete and utter slap in the face to Mavs fans who have invested so much into this franchise and into this player and are so passionate and so loyal. One of the truly most passionate and loyal fan bases in all of basketball. They have the best attendance numbers in basketball. They sell out every game. I mean, it's a total slap in the face, and I think it is totally understandable, completely understandable, that Mavs fans want to leave this fan base. There are a lot of Mavs fans who are going to stick with the team, but there are a lot of Mavs fans that are now Lakers fans because Luka's there, or they might be Thunder fans, Rockets fans, Spurs fans, because those are the teams in the area or the proximity. There might be some Knicks fans because of Jalen Brunson. I mean, whatever the case may be, I think it is completely logical for Mavs fans to root for other teams. And honestly, I'm rooting for the Lakers, plain and simple. Like, I'm still eventually probably going to come back to being a Mavs fan fully, but I hope the players do well. I just cannot root for this team with the front office spitting in the face of the fans the way they did. It is brutal, it is painful, and it's not going to not be painful for a long time, which is a real shame. So I hope I did a good job of explaining how brutal this deal was to Mavs fans, and I hope y'all did understand my point of view as a passionate Mavs fan myself. Look, life goes on at the end of the day, and I will still support Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis and PJ Washington and Derek Lively and all the other guys in the Mavs. I hope they succeed. I'm still honestly gonna somewhere in my heart root for the Mavs to a certain extent, but it is so hard to support this franchise after Nico Harrison did what he did to us. It's brutal. It truly is brutal, and it's not going to be forgiven anytime soon. I can promise y'all that. So I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.